Hello everyone, my name is Amrit Raj and I'm going to tell you a beautiful story today. The name of the story is Little Red Riding Hood.
Red, red, I love red. From the tips of my fingers to the top of my head. From my knees to my toes to the end of my nose. I love red, I love red.
Little Red Riding Hood is a European fairy tale about a young girl and a big bad wolf. The story has been changed considerably in various retellings and subjected to numerous modern adaptation and readings. In this video, we are telling you about the same Red Riding Hood with some contemporary changes keeping Corona in view. Here we go. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a village near the forest. Whenever she went out, the little girl wore a red cloak. So, everyone in the village called her the Little Red Riding Hood. Now, shall we go inside and listen to the rest of the story? Yeah? One morning, Little Red Riding Hood asked her mother if she could go to visit her grandmother, as it has been a while since they had not seen each other. That's a good idea, her mother said, so they packed a nice basket for Little Red Riding Hood to take her to her grandmother. When the basket was ready, Little Red Riding Hood put her red cloak and kissed her mother goodbye. Remember, go straight to your grandmother's house, her mother cautioned. Don't dwindle all the way and please don't talk to strangers. The woods are dangerous. Don't worry, Mama, said Little Red Riding Hood. I'll be careful. But when Little Red Riding Hood noticed some lovely flowers in the wood, she forgot her promise to her mother. She picked a few, watched the butterflies flit around her while, listened to the frogs croaking, and then picked a few more. Little Red Riding Hood was enjoying the warm summer day so much that she didn't notice a dark shadow approaching out of the forest behind her. Suddenly, the wolf appeared beside her. "What are you doing out there, little girl?" the wolf asked in a voice as friendly as he could muster. "I am on my way to see my grandmother who lives through the forest near the brooks," Little Red Riding Hood replied. Then she realized how late she was and quickly excused herself, rushed down the path to her grandmother's house. The wolf in the meanwhile took a shortcut. The wolf, a little out of breath from running, arrived at grandmother's house and knocked lightly at her door. "Oh, thank goodness, dear. Come in, come in. I was worried sick that something had happened to you in the forest," said Grandma, thinking that the knock was her granddaughter. The wolf let himself in. Poor Granny did not have time to say another word before the wolf gobbled her up. The wolf let out a satisfied burp and then poked through Granny's wardrobe to find a nightgown that he liked. He added a frilly sleeping cap and for good measure dabbed some of Granny's perfume behind his pointy ears. A few minutes later, Red Riding Hood knocked on the door. The wolf jumped into the bed and pulled the cover on his nose. "Who is it?" he called in a cracky voice. "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood." "Oh, how lovely! Do come in, my dear," croaked the wolf. When Little Red Riding Hood entered the little cottage, she could scarcely recognize her grandmother. "Grandmother, your voice sounds so odd. Is something the matter?" she asked. "Oh, I had touched of a cold," squeaked the wolf, adding a cough at the end of the truth part. "But grandmother, what big ears you have," said Little Red Riding Hood as she edged close to the bed. "The better to hear you, my dear," replied the wolf. "But grandmother, what big eyes you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "The better to see you with, my dear," replied the wolf. "But grandmother, what big teeth you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. Her voice quivered slightly. "The better to eat you with, my dear," roared the wolf, and he leaped out of the bed and began to chase the little girl. Almost late, Little Red Riding Hood realized that the person in the bed was not her grandmother, but a big hungry wolf. She ran across the room and through the door, shouting, "Help, wolf!" as loud as she could. A woodsman who was chopping logs nearby heard her cry and ran towards the cottage as fast as he could. He grabbed the wolf and made him spit out the poor grandmother, who was a bit fizzled by the whole experience, but still in one piece. "Oh, grandmother, I am so scared," sobbed Little Red Riding Hood. "I'll never speak to strangers or dwindle in the forest again." There, child, you learned an important lesson. Thank goodness you shouted loud enough for this kind woodsman to hear you. The woodsman knocked out the wolf and carried him deep into the forest where he wouldn't bother people any longer. Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother had a nice lunch and a long chat. Thank you very much. Now, let me tell you the moral of the story. Children should never talk to strangers, for if they do so, they may get into trouble. Since corona outbreak is observed around, we must cover ourselves like Little Red Riding Hood. Her story also tells us to keep social distancing, as she didn't go close to the wolf. Social distancing helps us to keep away from viral infections as well. Now let me tell you about the writer. And this story was written by Charles Perrault, who wrote 300 years ago. Charles was born in 12th January 1628 in Paris, France. And Charles wrote many classic fairy tales, and a few of them are The Sleeping Beauty, Little Red Riding Hood, the one that I have narrated some time ago, Cinderella, Puss in Boots, and Blue Bear. He died on 16th May 1703 in Paris, France, at the age of 75. Now that's the end of the story. Enjoy the oral and written tasks followed by this video. This is your very own storyteller Amrit Raj signing off for this session. Bye bye.